Did it start? Yeah, it has started. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Uh, so my target is to complete this session by 10:45, and after that, we all can discuss among ourselves, like what can be the best strategy. Like we all are in the same boat. We all are looking for full-time roles. Maybe not now, but after a year for some people, right? So whatever I'm going to share today has been my experience, my personal experience. So it is not a benchmark. So you guys can comment it at the end. And this presentation is only for how to get an interview call. It is not related to any specific domain. Like most of us are from data domain, while Tejas is entirely into different zone, like into CFT and some mechanical related stuff, right? But this session has nothing to do with the domain, right? So this is the stuff I'm going to cover. First is the resume best practices. Does one resume work for all the applications? That's the question. Second is a keyword match. I'll come to that. I'm just going through the index. Now, job application best practices. Like when should we apply? How many applications should we do each day? Uh, which companies to apply? And yeah, all that stuff. And after that, what are the LinkedIn profile best practices? And after that, I'll be sharing my LinkedIn templates, right? So I'm currently pursuing internship with LinkedIn, and I also got this opportunity through networking, right? So I'll be sharing the templates that I used to use for approaching unknown people or strangers. And at the end, we'll go into some deep psychology, right? Like why will a stranger help us? So this is going to be fun. After each and every slide, I'll be asking you if I was audible, if I was clear, if you have any queries, right? So here we begin. So first, uh, the resume best practices. So as I told, I'm currently working with LinkedIn right now. I used to connect with a lot of recruiters, and I ask them like, how do you uh, select one applicant from 1,000 applications, 10,000 applications, right? And every recruiter has different perspective, right? So there is no such benchmark. As of now, all the people who have joined this call have an assumption that whenever we apply, there is an ETS system which eliminates some of the resumes just based on the keywords. And after that, a resume reaches to a recruiter. That is the assumption, right? None of us, that's what I'm assuming, none of you guys have heard this thing or confirmed this thing from any recruiter. This is a fact which your alumni have told you, and that is how this thing is, uh, passing to our juniors, right? So I'll tell you what is the actual reality. So firstly, let's get into uh, the best practice. So first is the skeleton appearance. So let's assume you are a recruiter and you are supposed to select one application from 1,000 resumes, right? And that's not the only responsibility you have. All the hiring managers from the organization are approaching you that they have a vacancy and you are supposed to hire it. So that's a lot of responsibility on you, right? In India, what used to happen is the hiring manager selects the candidate and then transfers the resume to the recruiter. But in US, the process is different. In US, the recruiter selects the candidate and then it transfers the application resumes to the hiring manager, right? So for our first task is to convince, or what we say, uh, yeah, I would say convince to the recruiter, not the hiring manager. Now, recruiter doesn't know any shit about your domain, right? Like if you can just open any recruiter's profile on LinkedIn, you will find their background. Like they are not even from technical background. They might have done some art, psychology, sociology or something, and they are recruiters of Fang or LinkedIn or such companies, right? So what they basically do is uh, first they look at the resume. So what you guys can do is like not your resume, but select your friend resume, zoom it out, okay, and have an unbiased review check of like of the appearance of the resume, right? I'm not asking you to comment on the content. That's the second part. But first, just on the resume. So it's a fact as per MIT and Harvard. So whatever things I've mentioned in the deck is not, I would say, for this, I mean, the things which are quantified are not my perspective. It's a fact and which is shared by MIT and Harvard. So if required after the session, I can share the proofs as well. So 60% of the weightage is to the appearance, 60%. 40% comes about what you have done. So if you're a fresher means let's say you have less than 1 year of work experience from India, then this is the pattern you should follow. That is education, skill, then professional work experience, and project, and last leadership. But if you are a student with greater than 2 years of work experience, and this is I'm not talking about fake work experience, but the actual work experience, right? So then you should follow this pattern, which is education, then professional work experience and project, and skills you should keep at the end. Okay. So, and then comes the leadership experience. Now at the header of the resume, these are the things are very essential for each and everyone, I would say. But for Tejas, GitHub might not be, I'm sure, yeah, GitHub is useful, but for the other people, it might not. So email, mobile, LinkedIn, portfolio, and GitHub. Now I'll comment on the bullet points, like how to write them, right? And this is very difficult job. It's very easy to say that just follow the star method, but when you sit, open the Word file and just make your resume, this takes around a day or two to write the bullet points. So first one is the star method, in which you first explain the situation, task, action, and result. Or else the car method, which is challenge, action, and result. For example, you had a challenge wherein the data quality is not good. That was the challenge. And action, what you took is like you created a code in SQL or in Python to check data profile and data quality, right? And what is the result? Now, the data follows 100% data integrity and data quality, right? So that is how the car method and the star method works. Now, the next step is try to mention results in quantitative or qualitative method. So whatever things you achieve during a job, right, you have to quantify it. Quantify in terms of maybe dollars, like this many dollars you saved for the company or generated as a terms of revenue. You improve the efficiency by 20% or 25%. What is meaning of qualitative? Let's say you left the organization, you made a model, you made a dashboard, you did something which is helping the company even after you left. They are still using it, right? So that's a kind of qualitative achievement. So you just have to, so in each of the bullets, make sure you are adding a value, right? Like what you achieved over there, and put full stop after each bullet. So why do we need to add bullet? So when you start applying, you will find that there are some companies, there are some websites which are not able to capture bullet as a bullet, right? So it creates a paragraph. Now what happens is, uh, it's not like it's difficult to differentiate all these points without a full stop, right? So that is the reason it's advisable to add a full stop after each and every point. And what are the don'ts? So don't mention your personal information. Do proofreading before submitting any resume. Do grammar and spelling mistake check. Uh, and don't add any unnecessary or redundant information. Now, as you know, Grammarly is the best tool to check the grammars and spelling mistakes and whether your statements are in the active format, you are using the action verbs and all. So Grammarly is free for 7 days. Maybe once you are done with your final resumes, you can have that 7 days free Grammarly and get all your bullet points verified by the Grammarly, right? Now the question is, should we keep the same resume for all the applications? So you might have heard your alumni saying that they did 1,000 applications or they did 500 applications, but yet they don't get a call. While you might have also heard from some people that they got a job interview and even the job in just 10 or 100 applications, right? So there is no luck that's working behind, there is a process, right? So over here, you see what this is the process that I had followed, right? And even some other people like Vignan have also followed during the internship. So let's say on the left hand side, you see the roles that you are targeting that I was targeting: the data analyst, the engineer, business ops analyst, data engineer, data scientist. And on the right side, we have the domains that I had targeted: consultancy, medical, supply chain, fintech, automotive. So we have the companies written in that, right? Now, what anyone would do is like he will just create one resume of data analyst. They will add what they know. They will not add what this company requires. Right? That's the first mistake that every one of us do. So if I keep that just one resume and apply to all these companies, I won't get a call, right? Because I have hardly spent time in checking out the description of these jobs. What I used to do is I directly apply 20 applications a day. That is my target. I just want to reach that 1,000 number and I'll get the job. That doesn't work, right? So what each and everyone should do is first create a master resume. What's a master resume? It has description of all the job you have done, all the responsibilities, all the job responsibilities. Let's say you used to do a Xerox copy for your manager, right? Start from there, right from the very basic, and all the kind of meeting calls you used to conduct with your teams. What are the achievements? What are the failures? Just write everything. Okay. After that, now role one, role two, and role three. Let's say if I go for data analyst. Now, how would a data analyst resume for Deloitte look like? How would a data analyst resume for CVS look like? How would it look like for Tesla? Right. So that resume will be different. How will it be different? So the keywords, and the next slide is about it. So the keyword is very important because if you remember the first slide, what we are trying to do is we are trying to convince the recruiter to pass our resume to the hiring manager. That's our only goal. I'm not going to talk about how to get the job. or how to clear the interview through the hiring manager. That's the second phase. That's different because we have IS people, we have data analysts, data scientists, we have CFD people, right? So that's the second phase. So here is the first phase. So let me open this drive. Is the drive visible?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So this is what I used to do. This is uh, my this is the folder of resume wherein I used to store resume of each and every company I've applied to, right? So if you keep just one resume, then you won't find these folders. But if you are making customized resume for each and every of these companies, right? So this is a one-time investment, guys. Why should you make these folders? Like you are going to stay in US for the next 10, 20, 15 years. You don't know where you are going to end up, right? So start establishing this best practice. As in when you start applying, you will come to know what Apple always expects. What are the keywords would that you will crack to require, like you require to crack to get into Apple, right? So this is how you should build. You should make resumes for each and every of this domain. So I'll take a pause and I'll ask if I was audible throughout and if you guys have any queries till now.
Yeah, you're pretty audible.
Okay, thank you. And Siddharth, Shorin, Priyansh, Surya Pratap, do you have any queries?
No, no
Yeah,
questions.
I do have one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Preet, it was really nice that you were presenting those sort of like the resumes. But what if there's a role that we are not clearly eligible for? So, how do we market ourselves for that? So, for example, I want to go as a supply chain analyst, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that requisite experience with me. So, how do I
Mm,
market myself with that?
yeah, good point. So that is what next slide is going to be about. So on the right hand side is my resume updated as of today. And on the left hand side is a job description of a company called Lucid. You might have heard about it's automobile company. And it's the job description of a role called data analyst at Lucid. So there is this extension, Google Chrome extension called Jobalytics, which you can install if you are using Google Chrome. And what you have to do is you have to upload your resume in Jobalytics. And for whichever job description you come across, it works with any website, right? So you just have to click that and check for the keywords. So it will show the green for the stuff that already has, yeah, like you already have in your resume. And for the red ones, it will red one means it's not there in your resume. So you get a chance to edit your resume one more time and you can again check the percentage. And when it's greater than 70%, you are good to go. You're good to apply. Now, coming back to Siddharth's question. So Siddharth, your question was as similar to, let's say I'm an engineer, but I want to apply for a surgeon in a medical hospital, right? There's something which I haven't studied, something which I don't know, but I want to build a resume which will look like I have the relevant work experience. Okay. So there are two things. Now, the agenda of this session is to ensure that we reach to the hiring manager. So if you fake out, and we all can fake out, right? There is no one to stop us, right? You can obviously fake out in the job description, but if you don't know something, how will you prove to the hiring manager that you have done something in the past or you are capable enough, right? So if I talk about LinkedIn had reached out to like this DCM Shriram, the company which I mentioned where I worked in, started in 2017. They reached out even to the HR of that company just to confirm, like, these are the job responsibilities I worked and this was the designation, right? So if you fake out in your resume and if you're caught, right, you will end up losing that opportunity. So you have to be very cautious, I would say cognizant of these things. Like, what are you faking out? Okay. I having 5 years of work experience, maybe I can write anything and I have that confidence to prove the hiring manager that I have done that work. Right. Same applies to you. If you have that confidence that I had done that work, I know it. Maybe by reading some books, watching some videos, doing some courses, doing some projects related to it, then you are feel free to, modify your resume. Does it help?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And thanks Siddharth for putting this point. Like, even I haven't worked on data engineering side, but yet I'm applying. So I used to do such modifications in my resume just to prove that I'm capable enough for data engineering roles, right? So now, best practices for job applications. So most of you guys are freshers, or I would say in the first semester. So when should you guys start applying? So I would say you are already late. Yesterday was the best day to start, right? So don't listen to the people who tell you, especially the co-op advisors. So who ask you that you are not supposed to search for jobs right now. You're only eligible after 6 months. So you get access to searching jobs through the portal after 6 months. But being as an independent individual, no one can stop you from searching jobs. So you should start searching ASAP. I used to share the opportunities on the Slack channel. Companies like TikTok, Walmart, there are many other companies who have started recruiting for their interns for spring and summer right now itself, right? Now, how many applications should you do? I would say 10. So this is the process that I explained you, that all the resumes you should ensure that passes through a quality check. What is a quality check? That all the keywords should match. Now, after some time, you get midterms, you get assignments, quizzes, final exams. You also have commitments with your roommates and friends that you have to go somewhere to roam about, and there are festivals coming up. So what happens is you end up using the same resume and applying. Guys, let me tell you, like, rather than doing those 10 application, I would say just do one application, but of good quality, right? We have Vignan here. He had done 700 applications, and it's his biggest learning that rather than doing applications right away as it is using the same resume, just do some quality applications. So, but target 10, and that is the reason, like, if you didn't find any opportunities in this semester, in the next semester again you have 2 courses and you will be having a lot of pressure to find the job, right? So take baby steps and take your sweet time. Like, you have a lot of time right now. Start application from now itself. Maybe you can do 10 applications in a week, not in a day, but do quality application. So if you target 10 applications in a week, we still have like 3 months left, I would say. So 40 applications in a month and 120 applications in 3 months. So that's a good number, right? Now, which companies should you apply to, right? Uh, a younger version of me would advise go to LinkedIn, open any company and start applying. But guys, we are here to sustain, right? we are using sustainability in US. So it's not like just after pursuing masters, we are going back to India and handle our father's business or family business. We have taken education loan, and even we want our family to, continue staying in US. So from right now itself, have some long-term vision, not short-term vision. So you can get a job, but there are some companies which doesn't sponsor H1B. So, and when you don't find anything at the 11th hour and you get a company, you don't have any option. Beggars can't be choosers, right? So at that time, you don't have that choice to make. But as of now, you don't have anything to do. So look for the companies which sponsor H1B and apply only in that. So this is a website, myvisajobs.com. So you just have to write the, let's say if you Google that automotive companies that sponsor H1B, you will find a list of all the companies in automotive domain that sponsor H1B, right? So make a list of all the companies and then target those specific companies. Now, how to apply, right? There are 3 ways of applying. First is go to the job portal of that website, open a job application, upload your resume, fill in the details, and you are done. Second is either you can approach someone on LinkedIn and ask them for a referral, right? So they will share you a link either directly or on your email account, and from there you will be able to apply. And what is the third way? The third way is most important, and that is how, and even I got chance to discuss with Vignan today about that, and it's the way I got a job in LinkedIn, right? So if you know a person, it is not a friend but just an acquaintance, and you convince that person to approach directly to the HR, through the words of mouth, and talk about you, that this is a great guy I know and would do a great job if is selected for this internship, right? So that is the best way to get hired. Now, why someone would help you, right? So that is the main part of today's session, right? So I'll talk about that, but these are the ways, but don't apply directly. I would say in my case, it didn't help. Vignan, what happened in your case? The internship that you got, was it through referral or a normal application?
So I reached out to a talent acquisition partner at Alexion. So from there, I got a HR call, and then the process continued. And but even though if they start the process with their side, on behalf of their side, they ask you to apply just for a formality through the company website. So I would suggest reaching out to recruiters or talent acquisition partners, university recruiters, campus recruiters, or data science managers will be the best way to at least overcome the ATS screening. So
In
you
short,
can use
referral, right? Like
yeah,
not
basically a
applying
kind
directly.
of
Yeah.
right. Basically a kind of referral. So yeah.
Now there is a rule of 100 applications, and I believe in that, and I can even prove, but it might not be applicable to everyone. So what I believe is, if you do 100 applications, you will get one interview call, at least one. Okay, only if you do 100 applications. It's very rare chances that if you do 50 applications or 20 applications and 10 applications and you get an assessment, right? It's very rare. Now, talking about the storage and organizing the resume, I already showed you the folders, right? So have a practice of storing it in folders and store it in a drive. If in case you lose the data, so this is the real money. Your resume, this folders and all is the real money. Like if you lose this data, this is the hard earned process, right? The name of the recruiters, those keywords, and no one will share with you. Okay, all these details. So just make sure you store everything properly, and this is the bookmark for all job applications. So let's say, so you don't need to make an Excel sheet every day that today I applied to 10 companies and these are the job roles. That is very monotonous, and even if you start that practice, which I had, but after some time you'll end up getting exhausted and you won't follow it at the end. At least what you can do is like uh, have folders like this, just bookmark it, like what are the jobs you applied on September 25, what are the jobs you applied on September 27th, and just make bookmarks like this, and make sure you use the same account till the end. Okay, if you change the Google account, if you change the laptop or something shit happens, then you might end up losing these bookmarks, which are very important. So make sure you use the same Gmail account throughout. I'll take a pause and just check if you guys have any queries till now.
Hello. Yeah, am I
Yeah,
audible?
yeah. Go ahead, Jayesh.
Yeah. So, Preet, does certification appeal to recruiters?
It depends if you are Google certified, AWS certified, Looker certified, Tableau certified, certified through some companies for which you had to pay $100 or more, and which
Okay, so
is
like I was talking about like Udemy or Coursera, like
no, no,
something
no,
like
no,
that.
no, no, no. It doesn't,
Okay,
doesn't,
it,
doesn't,
it
not at
doesn't
all.
it doesn't appeal.
No,
Okay, and
no.
like what's the best tool to make resume? Or like MS Word, or like the like like in Northeastern they provide VMock tool or something like this. So
No, no,
what
no,
is the
no. So
best like format to make a resume?
uh, I would say Microsoft Word, but there are
Okay.
some people in Khori who used what was the tool, Vignan?
VMock tool. Okay.
Uh, Leaf. What was it? I forgot the name. Vignan remembered.
It's
So
Overleaf.
Overleaf, yeah. So it's a kind of HTML coding thing wherein you can make your resume.
Mhm.
But yeah, Microsoft Word is the best.
Okay.
I tried everything
Mhm.
and ended up with Microsoft Word because it is very scalable. It's easily
Okay.
available in all the systems. You can use Google Doc, Microsoft Word, everything. Right now, coming to the main part, which is
I
about
have a
link.
question actually. Can I interrupt?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I really like the part where you are making separate folders to apply to different companies and organize resumes in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, as a younger version of yourself, when you actually applied to all these companies and before you got into LinkedIn, what mistakes did you make? Did you actually end up applying to 100 companies just like using one resume, or did you actually do this strategy before applying to LinkedIn, or did you learn this along the way when you were,
No, so I started applications in September, and through the process when I was applying, I also had a habit of approaching people over LinkedIn, right? And after a few months, maybe I would say very early, and just August before the Diwali, I came to know this is the best process. So fortunately, I was saved. Like I would say, this is the practice that I'd followed. But if I hadn't approached alumni or other net to other people, and if hadn't this, they had not suggested me, I might not get the internship at LinkedIn, I would say.
okay. But then you were still
Mm,
organizing resumes and
yeah,
creating
yeah,
separate resumes for different companies at the
yeah.
same.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah. Any queries? Shorin, Priyansh, Jargi, Surya,
No, Mila,
Siddharth.
no queries.
Are we going good?
Yeah,
Is the pace?
Preet, I have one question.
Yeah, Shorin.
Yeah, so on LinkedIn, I can see that some people are just like posting that you can comment on there and they will share the link. Otherwise, we can
Hmm.
fill some Google forms. Is Is it really that helpful, or it is just a way to increase their followers? I think I had
It's
asked you this earlier as well, right?
yeah. It's not helpful. It's not helpful.
Okay.
It depends which people you follow, because nowadays, including me, a lot of people who are doing this. But
Okay.
just imagine if you get 2,000 comments on a post of yours, do you have time to reach out to those 2,000 people and help them? Not,
No,
right? So
definitely
they
not.
basically are doing to increase their followers. They do have some Python code. What it does is it fetches the email from all the comments and sends them something, right? So it might be possible that they have. So if I have a Word file and I want to send to all the people who have commented, that's possible. That's possible by Python code. But if you expect that that person will reach out to all the people who commented and help them personally, that's never going to happen.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it
So
does.
I had one question. So I don't know if it's the right practice or not, but can
Mhm.
we apply from like two accounts, like one from a Northeastern account and one from my Gmail account, just to increase my chances of my application getting viewed?
Unless you are keeping the same resume, it won't matter. If you're changing the resume, if you're changing the keywords, yes, I would suggest if you can apply through more than one account. It happens in only few companies like Amazon or some big companies. Otherwise, it doesn't matter.
And you were also mentioning about that you used to reach out to people consequently. I mean, as soon as you finish one application, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how aggressive we need to be and like how to reach out to them? Like I'm a little overwhelmed by this.
Yeah, so that's the most important thing I'm to cover now. And sorry, guys, I told that I'll be finishing by 10:45, but this might take some more time. Hope that's fine with all of you.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So now coming to the main point, and so LinkedIn is the world of networking, right? So firstly, why to make connections? If you guys can share, uh, like why should we make connections? I'll just come in a minute, but I have the earphone. You guys can say. Why do you think making connections is helpful? Nobody?
Okay, so I have an answer.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, I mean, it's a hypothetical situation, but very much plausible. That if let's just say if a recruiter is seeing your LinkedIn application and if they see that oh he has connections from 10 to 15 people who also work in our same company, so it kind of creates or builds more sort of credibility towards that application for him to get selected or shortlisted.
Yeah, yeah, that's what LinkedIn is meant for. So on LinkedIn, there are two types of people. One who does hard work and the other who does smart work. Okay. So if you see people over here, I just mentioned two profiles randomly. There's nothing to discuss about this specific two people. But it's just that at some point of time, you might think that, okay, I don't want to make any connections, and that's fine, right? And it doesn't even mean that you have lakhs of followers and you will post on LinkedIn that I got laid off and I'm looking for a new opportunity, and you will find a new opportunity in just 1 week. That doesn't mean like you have lakhs of followers that is going to help you. No, right? What matters is, do you have quality connections? Do you have quality followers? It's fine if you just know 100 people, but who are those 100 people, right? And if you have a lot of research papers, you know what to do, you have a vision, right? So you don't need to connect with people. Maybe just an email or two would change your life for you, right? But for a person like me who has great skills of networking, not good at technical stuff, but if given an opportunity, I can do a lot of hard work, right? So for people like me, making connections, connecting with people, learning from them would make a lot of change, right? While there are some people who are from IITs, NITs who have a very good brain, very good thoughts, and they have a vision, right? They know why they are pursuing masters. Whenever they select a course, even a subject, or even a professor, right? What they do is like, how do we select professors? We used to ask our roommates and our friends that how good is that professor in giving grades, or what are the challenges I come across if I select that professor. But there are some smart people who visit uh, the profile of or website of those professors. They do a research, like what this professor knows and what are the values that I can learn from them. Okay, so these people, they don't need connections on LinkedIn, right? I hope you are. I hope you guys are getting me, right? So that is the reason, like a lot of people like us can grab opportunities by networking. So that's all we are going to discuss now. So these are the quick 8 best practices. I have written 8. Uh, I want all of you guys to share a number in the chat. Okay, like out of these 8 points, which are like, let's say if you already have 6 points in your LinkedIn profile, just write 6. Okay, and let's say if you have all the 8 points, if you're following all the 8 points on your LinkedIn profile, write 8. And guys, this is a small group, like no one is going to judge you. It's just like, just understand this session as like we all have gathered at one place. We are discussing the ways to get job, right? So first one is a professional photo. If you guys have a professional photo, count 1. Second is a background photo. I hope I don't need to explain what's a background photo in the LinkedIn. It over here. If you see this pic,
You
if
mean
you have any,
timeline photo? Timeline photo, right? Yeah.
yeah. Now the third one is the open to work on your photo frame. Like if you have mentioned this open to work over here, then have a summary in the summary section. So just below this, you have a summary section. If you have mentioned a summary, count 4, count a point for that. Make sure you have professional job as also contain your job responsibilities. You have job responsibilities mentioned on your resume, but have you mentioned your job responsibilities on the LinkedIn? Attach all certificates that you have received during your professional work. And this certificate doesn't mean Coursera, Udemy, right? So this can be some pat on bag or best employee award, something like that, which you won during the professional work. Incorporate coursework for undergrad and masters. Let's say you have taken 2 courses right now. Have you added the coursework in your LinkedIn profile? Like what have you taken? What are you studying? And have your skills added in your endorsement section, right? You guys might be knowing about the endorsement section wherein we add skills and we ask our friends to endorse it, right? So quickly, if you guys just can share. So we are not here to prove that your LinkedIn profile is the worst or this is the best profile. It's just that we are acknowledging it ourselves, like how good we are at this thing. 75714. So Jargi and Surya are doing great job. Cool. So this is the target for next 6 months for all of us. First, make list of all the companies that can hire you or where you can find your desired roles in the US, right? So this should contain all the companies which sponsor H1B. Second is connect with at least one person per company who can provide a referral, right? Third is connect with at least one recruiter per company who replies to you when you ask something. right? Just by adding a recruiter on your connection won't add any value. Make 100 connections every week. Now, to make 100 connections every week, you don't require a premium account of LinkedIn. You can, that's the max limit you can do every week. I'm not going to ask you how many connections you have, but if you make 100 connections every week, by the end of the year, you will be having at least 5,200 connections, right? So do have this as a habit rather than opening Netflix or any such OTT platform. Just take 10 minutes at the end of the week on any Sunday and make just connections. What I would do is I would first connect with alumni or my peers of my college, because at least Northeastern people would help us out anytime, any day. Don't bifurcate juniors and seniors, right? I'm 27, you guys might be way younger than me, but that doesn't mean like I'm not going to differentiate, right? And when anyone approaches you over LinkedIn, it doesn't matter if that person has job or is just studying right now. It's an asset for you. So don't wait for layoff. Okay, nowadays a lot of my friends were working at Wayfair and Staples. They got laid off. They got full-time opportunity and they stopped applying. And when they started working, they got laid off. And now they have that duration of 60 days in wherein they have to get full-time otherwise go back to India. And now they start making connections. They start using LinkedIn at its best. They got LinkedIn premium account. No, we should not wait for the last stage. We have to be very active right from beginning. Each student in US is an asset. You never know who is going to change your life, right? So respect each and every person on LinkedIn, right? Now, the main thing out of art of networking. Now, this is the main thing wherein I and Vignan talk about the third type, how to get a job, right? If you don't have that great resume, or even like just like Siddharth mentioned, even if we fake out, a hiring manager is going to catch us, right? So this is the way which is very cumbersome, okay? And only few people do it, but and it also requires a lot of patience. So how to draft a message for stranger? Okay, so I will spend as much time replying to your mail as much as you have spent thoroughly writing it. It's not literally the way it means. So for example, let's say if you have researched about me and you try to reach to my heart, okay, and just, so let's say Shorin is working in Amazon. Okay, so nowadays, if I just call Shorin, Shorin will always talk to me. But the day he gets job in Amazon, it might be difficult to connect with him because now he's in Amazon, right? So people get ego. So what happens is when people reach at a certain stage, they won't talk to you as friendly as they would if they don't have that status, right? So you have to break that wall. There is a wall which you have to break to get into that comfort zone. And once you are successful to break that wall and you are in that comfort zone, that person will do anything for you, right? And this comes with experience. That is, I will be sharing some templates with you, but still you have to practice it. Okay. So what you have to do is, and we will practice this today itself, just after this call. So take 1 minute, just visit anybody's profile, any person's profile, which you think is your idol. You don't know him, but you like his LinkedIn profile. He hasn't connected yet with you. Okay, you should know firstly what you want to become, where you want to go tentatively, right? And you should have a list of at least 10 people on LinkedIn whom where you want to reach, right? Whom you want to be like in the future. So take a minute, to understand the daily activities and work of that person, right? And draft a personalized message. Now, the template of this personalized message would look like this. Firstly, introduction about you. So you don't need to tell me, but think of something about you which is very special. Special as in, let's say, if you tell to someone about that thing, the person will never forget. For example, if I say I'm the CEO of Google, right? So it creates an impact about me. So there should be something about you which I would say no one will forget about you, right? It's something which makes you special. So that should be in the introduction. Second is your intention. Why are you approaching to that person? Third is appreciation. You have to appreciate that person. And fourth one is the forward guidance, right? Like why are you approaching that person? What are the guidance? What are you expecting from that person? Now let's get into some micro emotions of that person. Firstly, you have to visualize, okay? Like you have to think, like you have to put yourself in his or her shoes, what they might think of you, that you are worthy of their time. Firstly, you have to prove them that you are worthy of their time. Second is ego massage. I told you about that wall that you have to break it. You have to respect them. You have to show some curiosity. All of a sudden, let's say I text a girl, hi. Okay, that girl is never going to reply me. But the reason being, she will think, why did I text her? Right? And same happens with her, same with a stranger, that they might think, why did you approach them? And are there any areas where he could add value to me? Right. So what that person will think is, why should I help Siddharth? Why should I help Shorin? Why should I help Priyansh? Right? Is there anything that I might get beneficial or benefited from you? Right. So what are the common interests? What are the common skills? Then coherence and structure. So things to say and ask to, okay, yeah, till now, any queries? Are we going good?
So on the previous slide, this looks more or less, this looks to me like a cover letter actually. Is that correct? I mean, this
No,
is
no.
no?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Yeah. We are just one slide away from the template. So do's and don'ts. So let's say, and there was something which some professors from our co-op family had told, that if you're approaching a stranger and you ask something which is very overwhelming, no one is going to reply you. But if you ask something for which it takes only one line or just few words to reply, everyone will reply. Okay, so this slide is about the first message that you are going to do to that person, or I would say the first expectation. What you should do first is, like, you can ask, should my second paragraph in LinkedIn summary be removed, or it makes sense? Right. So what this statement will do is, that statement will convince that person to visit your LinkedIn profile, check your summary, and just read it and reply back to you. It is not a big effort, right? It just takes a minute. Second thing is, should I mention skill section below the work experience or after it? I mean, sorry. Yeah, before and after. Yeah, that's correct. In the resume. Then ego massaging. I see that you have worked at so and so company. Do you mind if I ask a question related to Python, SQL, or something? Praise him for what he or she knows or has done. Right. This is the thing you should start with. What you should not. And I'm sure most of us has done this thing. Like, we just approach a random person and ask them, hey, can you please review my resume? Please find the attachment. This is not how you should begin the conversation. And this is the worst statement. We keep on continuing, and even LinkedIn suggests us, thanks for connecting with me. And can you provide referral? No, you can't ask for a referral directly. That person doesn't know you. And some of the people used to ask me like, hey, can you share your experience at LinkedIn? That to an unknown person, and asking me to share my experience. Now I can't just type my experience in few words, right? So I won't reply. Now showing ego, attitude, or letting him down. Now you know a lot of stuff. You have a lot of research papers, and now you are approaching a person who doesn't have that great qualification, but it is at a good company, right? And now after having some conversation, if you try to prove that person that he doesn't know as much as you know, or show him some attitude or let him down, don't expect that person to help you, right? So you have to be very simple, like very humble, and you have to act as if you don't know as much as that person knows, or you should just befriend that person and try to learn from that. Now these are some templates. So the third one is the template that helped me to get a job at LinkedIn. I'll start from the first. So for peers and juniors in US, so nowadays, like I saw a lot of incoming students in Northeastern, right, who just joined. So those are your asset who are just going to join. Within a year or two, those people might be sitting at Amazon or some great companies, right? So if you have helped them, right, after a year or two, you can approach them and maybe they can provide you a referral. Remember, each and every person is an asset over here. And no one is a friend. All are friends with benefit in US. So don't expect much from other people. Just have a professional relation with each and everyone, but make sure you have that good rapport with that person. So for peers and juniors in US, hey, thanks for connecting. I saw that we have a same common passion, and I just introduced myself that I work at this LinkedIn company, and I also run a Slack channel to help Indians in US reaching for internship and full-time role. So this third statement, so just recall the day you took flight and came to US and the fear that you had while coming. You also had excitement to come to US, but at the same time you have fear. Like you have taken education loan of so many lakhs, and your family is banking on you that you are a resource for them to go to US and earn some money, right? So everyone has that pressure on them, on their shoulders. And at the same time, if you text them that, hey, I run a Slack channel to help Indians in US for finding internships and full-time roles, right? So that is a very good time to get connected with that person and have further conversation. Remember, this is for peers and your juniors. And again, just this is the statement, like I don't work in recruitment, by the way, just helping aspiring data analysts so that they trust you. Like you, I'm not sure if you guys are getting such messages, but nowadays I'm getting a lot of messages from recruitment companies, especially Indians, who have a target of convincing you and getting into some platform and get your job done. But those are fraud people. So that is the reason if you text such a message, they might not trust you. But this is so mentioning this statement, they might rely on you, right? Now, the second is for strangers and non-Indians, especially Americans. Now, the ones who just came in US might not know, but Americans have their personal, like they like their personal space. And if you try to intrude in that, and they might end up not talking to you. So we Indians, as Indians, we get very personal. Like let's say, for example, if I meet Shoring, the first question, even if I don't know him and I just come to know that he's an Indian, he's studying in Northeastern, the first thing I'll ask him is, so how has the flight been? Like, where are you staying? Right? Otherwise, what else do we talk about? But Americans don't like, right? So this message, this specific thing I've drafted for them. So at the last, you can see, and convincing my mom to get a puppy. I don't like dogs, but still I've mentioned that message. Why? because Americans like puppies and pets, a lot of stuff. So you have to, and this comes after a lot of experience. Like I didn't know how to draft this message. Like it took me a year or so, and now I'm sharing the template directly to you. But just things comes with experience. Like you come to know what do they like, what they don't like, and it's not necessary that this template that worked for me shall also work for you. But you have to customize it. At least you will come to know this is the kind of template, and now you have to put your content. This is the third one is for hiring manager. This is very interesting. In the first line, I'm telling I'm
Sorry to
super.
interrupt you.
Yeah, Jayesh.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you like zoom it a little bit? Like if possible.
Mm, isn't it visible? Tejas, is it visible? Tejas, Siddharth.
I actually just took a picture from my phone, so I can use it in future. So I think it's pretty much visible, yeah.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, it's visible. Okay, Jayesh, maybe you can try from laptop if in case you're
Yeah,
using
okay,
mobile.
that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. So in the first paragraph, okay, let me do slideshow. So in the first paragraph, I'm mentioning why I'm a good fit for that job role. So I told I have 5 years of work experience. I'm currently a data analyst in LinkedIn sales operation. This is the latest template. Otherwise, when I had applied for this thing, I had mentioned like I have 4 years of experience and I previously worked at a Google partner, right? Because CS is a Google partner company. But this is the latest thing which I'm using. So I'm currently a data analyst at LinkedIn sales operations team, and I'm a data driven. So you guys see in this message, this entire template, I've never mentioned about machine learning, about Python libraries, nothing. I didn't go into technical because I just I just want to give a holistic idea about myself in that paragraph. If this thing will interest that person, then the person will download the resume, or if not, if then they would ask me to send the resume. So I pursued masters, I studied this, and these are the courses. And the third paragraph that you see is customized. It is based on the job description. So in LinkedIn, the Looker, Tableau, and the cloud stuff were the priority. With experience, we'll come to know what is the priority by reading the job description. After that, I just mentioned a random message about me, which states that I have a good leadership qualities. So I'm a hustler. I ran a startup in college where I had 10,000 as volunteers. I run an NGO which taught me how to be a people person and sponsorship and entrepreneurship. And I would love to call and meet up. Right. So this is a kind of template where you can use for hiring managers. And the last one is for cold email. Okay, so what is cold email? So cold email is, let's say Surya Pratap is working at Amazon and I don't know his email ID. Right. So what I'll do is I'll grab an email ID of an Amazon employee and I'll try to do some permutation combination and try to get Surya Pratap's email ID. So if you open Gmail, right, and just write some random email IDs, if that email ID is correct, it will show a photo or a different icon that will show that this is the correct email ID. If not, you can try sending some 5-6 different emails, and if that email ID is incorrect, you'll get a message from Gmail that this mail has failed because your email ID is incorrect. So this is what cold email is, and I had done a lot of cold emails, and the success ratio would be like if you do 100 cold emails, you might get 5 replies. But what we are waiting for is just one opportunity which can change your life, right? So it's worth, doing such cold emails. So this is this template. I'll be sharing the screenshot with you later on, so maybe you can just go through it. Now, let's understand the psychology. Why wouldn't someone help you? So first one is, again, this first paragraph is taken from the Harvard research paper. On an average, people spend 60% of conversations talking about themselves, right? We obviously do. And this figure jumps to 80% when communicating via social media platforms, just Twitter or Facebook. Like people like talking about themselves, right? And let's say if I'm a very good listener, if I listen to you and I don't share the things that you tell me to my friends, right? So you would also share your secrets with me, and I might end up becoming a good friend of you. So all this process starts because people like to speak, people like to tell about themselves to others. Now, humans have a helping nature. Like they always want to help. Like there are very rare people who are super introvert and like just don't like talking to others. Otherwise, 99% people, they are always happy to help others because that's a part of human nature. Like they want to become a part of success of others. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned that before. Maybe, yeah, I'll come to that. So, and what else is the reason of helping others? So, if you go in deep in the research, into like in this research paper, there are some hormones stuff mentioned in it, which is very deep to understand for an engineer, but it kind of create dopamine when you talk about yourself to others and they listen to you, right? So that is the reason anyone would help you, but you have to make sure that you break that wall. Otherwise, if you show that person, if you let them down, they are not going to help you. Now, whom to approach? And I want an answer from all of you. If it's fine, if you can say yes or no, or just type in the comment. Have you ever approached CEO of a company for a job? Just type yes or no, or you can just say.
No.
Surya, you can also answer. Priyansh, Tejas. It's fine. Like if you have approach, you can also say yes. Like I'm not going to answer something like that. Why did you say yes? So if anyone can say like, why didn't you approach?
Uh, because he won't reply. That was the first thought. He might be a busy person. So it would be a failure.
Right. So I'll tell you, I approached associate director of LinkedIn that I want a job at LinkedIn and use that template. Associate director means the CEO of Ryan. Ryan is the CEO of LinkedIn, and the co-CEO is Satya Nadella. I approached an associate director who just works below Ryan, and I approached him and sent him a cold email and sent a template to him, and I got this internship converted. So even if I had thought the same, right? So I might not end up getting an internship at LinkedIn. So the thing is, so here is a very good example that if you go to a restaurant, if you go to a bar, and if you see a hot girl, okay, so no one would approach that girl. Most of won't approach. Reason being, we'll assume that that girl is already taken or might be in relationship or has a boyfriend. right? That is what we assume. And what happens is the most attractive girl ends up getting an unattractive boy. And you must have seen, like, you might even thinking like, yeah, इसको ये बंदा कैसे मिल गया, इसमें कुछ है भी नहीं. And that's what we think, but it's an underrated thing, even if you might laugh, but this is a fact, and we don't practice that thing, right? And same applies to the recruiters or hiring managers. The reason we think that he's an Indian, let's approach to him because he's an Indian, he might help. That's not the case. So the people who are at the top are very humble, as well as they feel lonely. They're very lonely. Reason being, let's say if I'm CEO of the company, I have to maintain that gap, uh, that distance with my board members. I can't, sit with them and drink or go to party. I have to maintain that distance. And what happens is that person that keeps himself so much busy that he doesn't get chance to share his personal life with anyone, or that's what happens, right? And if someone approaches that, hey, right, like using this cold email, that I understand your schedule is very hectic, but I shall be very highly indebted if you could sacrifice 15 minutes of your time, and any insights and guidance from your end will benefit me immensely, right? And when you also mention the importance of that person, like, I really appreciate, I really admire your work, right, from this company to this company and all, that person is going to help you definitely, right? So always catch the big fish. No one approaches like the hot girl in the bar, and don't approach recruiters. And I mean it. I have, so before LinkedIn, I could have got some more opportunities, but recruiters never help you. Like, that's my personal experience. If in case after 6 months or a year, if you get an opportunity that a recruiter helped you to get into the company, just let me know. I'll change the slide. Approach the hiring managers. I told you, right? The process is different from India. In India, first the hiring managers selects us, and then the resume goes to the HR to finalize the salary. Over here, the process is different. HR will call you and ask you the expected salary, and if all the conditions fulfills, like your visa status, do they need to sponsor you H1B and all those stuff? Do you need to relocate? What is the expected salary? If all those parameters gets fulfilled, only then you get chance to go to the next step, right? So rather than getting into all this, just directly approach the hiring manager. Yeah, that's it from my side. So we can all discuss the Q&A, and also stop the recording.